Welcome to Cook It. This is Barbara Thiel, County Home Economist, Cooperative Extension Service. And I'd like to invite you to a segment on cooking. And today we're going to talk about fats, and we're going to do some deep fat frying. First of all, everyone is concerned about fats in the diet. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about the kinds of fats. There's saturated, and then in the saturated group there's monounsaturated, there's polyunsaturated, and then there's hydrogenated fats. And they can be quite confusing to the consumer. Let's take a look, and when we look at the polyunsaturated fats, they tend to lower the blood cholesterol. And what they are, they're liquid fats. They're in liquid form, and they're your common vegetable oil. And when it's a bottle will say vegetable oil, if you read, you'll find that it's usually soy. And then there's corn oil, and there's safflower oil, and sunflower oil, cottonseed oil. They're all polyunsaturated oils, and again, they tend to lower the blood cholesterol. And then we hear a lot about the monounsaturated. They're right in the news today. And in that group, we find like the Puritan, which is canola oil. And the canola oil is also in a lot of other brands now, so you can buy the house brands. And indeed, canola oil is the least saturated oil. In that group of the monounsaturated is the peanut oil and olive oil. And they also tend to lower the blood cholesterol. And then we take a look at the solid, or what we call hydrogenated fats. And in that group, we find our solid shortenings, whether they're a vegetable source or an animal source. And definitely the animal sources, which are lard or butter. Then the margarines can fit in either. If they're solid, and they have the first is your solid soybean oil or whatever source of an oil, they will too be more saturated, and you'll have to look at the label and see how much is saturated and how much is not saturated. Now, we do know that people like fried foods, and when they go out to restaurants, it's one of the big leading sellers are your fried items, your fried entrees. So today I thought we'd take a little bit of a look at frying. And one thing I should mention before we move on, it doesn't matter which fat you're using in caloric value, because a tablespoon of any fat is still 100 calories. It's just that some fats are better for you than others. Now when we fry, we want to use a fat that has a high smoking point. In other words, that it isn't going to smoke, catch on fire, or burn your food, burn your appliance. And that's why you don't deep fry in things like margarine or butter. You choose an oil. It's like peanut oil, has a real high smoking point. Your vegetable oils are fine. All right, but the oils are better. Your shortenings, you have to be careful. They even have warnings on here. So be careful of your blends and what you're using. Now, what I've made is just a basic batter. There's so many prepared batters on the market you can purchase, or what I have here, I just have some couple eggs, milk, flour, and a little salt. That's all I have, just a basic cover batter. Very economical, very easy, just takes a minute to mix up. Then I have some prepared vegetables here. We have some mushrooms. Mushrooms are very popular fried. We have some cauliflower, little zucchini, and of course onion rings. We've used a nice sweet Spanish onion. And again, these vegetables are available year-round. All right, for the fryer, you fill it with your grease to what the manufacturer will tell you. And I'm going to put the basket in to get a little bit warm so that when we put our food in, it doesn't stick to the basket. And then over on the side, I have a pan right ready with a paper towel so that it'll absorb any extra grease. And we're just waiting. Oh, our fryer is ready. I'm going to fry about 375 degrees. And let's start and put in a few zucchini. just to see how they turn out. These should be nice and crisp because as you see I got them sliced very thin. And I know a lot of people like zucchini that's thin. And they love it fried. And they say, oh, we have zucchini every which way, but I still like it fried best. Well, on occasion, fried foods are good. So I'm just going to coat them with a batter. And then I'm going to drain them a little bit here. Drain off the excess. And then let's pop a few in here carefully. And remember, like any appliance, the cord is short. It should be on a safe spot, a spot that you know that you're not going to knock over, away from children, away from pets, because hot grease is very, very dangerous. All right, and we're just going to put in a few. And you don't want to overload your fryer, because when you overload your fryer, then what happens, your heat has to come on and they get grease soaked. So we want to keep it so it's, and these are a little difficult to manage. I know it's nice to dip them. When I do the cauliflower, I'll dip one at a time. These were a little difficult to work with. Let's see if I can put some in a dish while that's frying. And then I can take them out one by one. There we go. And I know there's all kinds of batters out there. Some people will swear by the beer batter. Others will like a certain brand. But there's all kinds of batters available. But the big thing is to use a good quality oil and fry quickly so you don't overload your fryer. If you're worried about temperature, you can put a thermometer in here and check it that way and see how that works. And then you know if your fryer is right. All right, while I'm doing that, I think I'm going to start with the onion rings because onion rings are a great, great favorite. And you just can set your fryer right up. It has a little click here, little lip, and it'll drain the fat right out. And then all you do is just have your paper towel ready, make sure all the fat's out. And then just cover your slices. As you see, I didn't do a real neat job there. They kind of caked, but we're going to do a much better job right now with our cauliflower. We'll do one at a time. And they won't stick together. Actually, the zucchini were sliced so thin, it was a little bit difficult to get them apart. And again, we just want to fry a few at a time. And onion rings, those are a great, great favorite. And a lot of people have a different ways. They'll say they soak them in milk, or they do this, or they do that. But when you go out, what do you spend for onion rings? Quite a bit of money. And I bought a great big Spanish onion. They were at 39 cents a pound. The whole onion didn't run 39 cents. Just about, well, it was just about a pound, so you can see how much you save. So let's do a fryer full of onion rings, and they'll be nice and crunchy. And see how that comes out. Okay. And our cauliflower will be done in a minute here. Shake it around. Real easy. So for once in a while, when you like a treat, use your fryers. They're sold. There's all of those little fry daddies, fry mamas, those little fryers. Just get them out and use them occasionally. All right, let's fry our onion rings now and see how we do with those. I'll drain this for a minute. Now the onion rings are easy to handle. They separate out really nice. And the cauliflower was too. Our zucchini would have been if it was sliced a little bit thicker. All right, we'll just take a spoon, or tongue, a fork here. It's important to keep this basket hot so they don't stick. Don't be afraid of it, just clean it off. Let's put it in and get it hot here. There we go. We're going to fix a little platter of the different veggies. And let's start with our onion rings. And then we want to put a few fried mushrooms in. And you know, another thing, they're not expensive. When you buy a few, like I said, the one onion and a handful of mushrooms, a couple zucchinis, you could do a nice vegetable platter, a real nice vegetable platter economically. It would be a great appetizer. And if you don't do this every day, your caloric value and your fat intake won't be that high. This is an occasional treat that you would do. Just like when you go out, hopefully you don't always order the onion rings. All right, let's do a few mushrooms here. We'll get a few small ones. And coat them. And we'll fry those. And let's see if we can arrange, I have another platter here, if we can arrange a few of these veggies. While those are cooking, give them a turn. There you go. The commercial batters too, they have more browning agents in, and you notice that mine aren't real brown. You could put a little paprika in. A little paprika would help that. All right, let's arrange a few of our vegetables, and then I'm going to do some fish for you because fish is an expensive item out. Put the veggies around here. It's our cauliflower, and let's put some of our zucchini. I'll move it up in front in a minute. We're just going to put some slices here. And then while the mushrooms are cooking, I'm going to do some fish. Take the onion rings out. Try this plug over here. There we go. We're having a little trouble with that plug there. All right. Now we'll put in a few mushrooms. There we go. It's sizzling good now. Always the way when you want something perfect, you always have a little trouble. We got that fixed. All right, now with the fish, what I'm going to do with that, let's do a couple more mushrooms. They're good. And I'm sure we have some hungry eaters with us today. So we'll do a couple more mushrooms, and then let's go right ahead and do the fish. And with the fish, it's a good idea to make sure it's dry, really dry, so that your batter will adhere to it. Because if you get a lot of liquid in here, then your batter goes down and it doesn't adhere too well. So with the fish, what I'm going to do, you can either take flour and flour it first. Let's just move this over and bring the fish over here. And either flour it first or take some kind of material that will absorb any moisture. Like I have some cracker meal here. That should be good. And what I'm going to do is simply coat this fish with some nice cracker meal. Make it crisp too. Just take it. And this fish is pollock. Pollock is economical. It's been featured. You find it many times of the year. It's a deep Atlantic fish. It's very good. In fact, they use it, a lot of fast food places use it in their fish sandwiches because it's firm. You can see it's firm, it holds up well. It's a nice fish, and it's one of the most economical fish on the market. You know what else is very good in is chowder. Makes great chowder because you can see as it's firm, you can cut it in cubes. And if you poach it and put it in your fish chowder, it's delicious. Real economical fish. If you haven't tried it, try some. And this will dry it up and the batter will adhere much better. All right. Let's see, those mushrooms are cooking really well now. Okay. I'll rinse my hands off here and oh, they're doing real well. Now with a batter like Cracker Meal too, you could dip them in a little bit of egg and then a little bit of Cracker Meal and you'd have a real nice batter. So let's take our mushrooms out. Let them drain a little bit. When you hear the grease crackling, that's what it needs to do. Just watch your appliance light and make sure the fat is good and hot so that you're cooking as little as possible. Oops. All right, now let's go ahead and work with our fish. I think with this fish too, I'm going to cut it. It's going to be easier to handle. And we'll just take a piece. Again, we're not going to fry too much at once. We're going to dip it in some batter. Now it's been coated. Should help the batter stay on. I'm going to bring it right up. Put it in. And take another piece here. Remember, the tail piece is good for children. It doesn't have the bones. So we must remember, if you want children to like fish, give them the tail piece. There's nothing worse than getting bones. Now the pollock is filleted, and I'm sure you won't find any bones, but so often that turns people off. All right, now we'll let our fish cook, and not too much at once. One thing nice about fish, it cooks fast. You just want to cook it till it flakes, till it's nice and tender. So while that's doing that, let's fix our onion rings. And we'll fix our mushrooms. We'll let our fish cook here. Oh, they got nice and tender. These mushrooms are good. Nice and tender. There we are. You make a nice vegetable tray. And then we'll have some fish to eat too. We'll bring the fish out in a minute. So I hope that you've learned more about oils, about fats, saturated fats, and with the Extension Service we have all kinds of substitutes too. Like with the pie crust, we have for margarine a recipe, we have a recipe using your liquid oil so you don't have to use the saturated fats. There's lots of ways you can cut down on fat. So if you would like any recipes, if you'd like any information, just feel free to call me. I'm glad to help you out with your food questions. And let's take a look at our fish and see how that turned out. Drain a minute. And we'll turn it out. There we go. And we'll put our fish. Well, that sure is nice and hot. And then we have a variety of fried foods. And this has been another segment of Cook It. And I certainly hope you've gained some useful information today on frying. Thank you.